the room. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you joined us today. This is an opportunity for you to learn what is life really like as an international student. And I think this is an opportunity to ask some questions, to hear some insight from those who have walked in your shoes. All the students that you see on the screen here represent colleges and universities across the North America area, from Canada into California to Texas and the Midwest. While our group represents a particular college out of Fresno, California, Fresno Pacific University, in the center of California, we've had experiences that translate to what you, the prospective international student to our colleges, may be feeling, may be concerned about, maybe you're excited about as well. At least I hope so. My name is Jody Smith, and I'm the Associate Director at Fresno Pacific University. My focus is to help students through the admissions process, particularly those that are international. I create the I-20 form and help students get into the campus so that they can go through orientation and begin their four-year experience. But this is not about me, this is about you and our students. And I want our panel to introduce themselves, share a little bit about where they're from, and then we have questions. I know you have questions that we'll tackle together as we unpack the experiences and excitement of being an international student in the United States. And I think I'll start with Elise. Have you introduce yourself first?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Alice. I'm from Brazil. I currently on my third year here. I'm a junior, business major, focused on management. And I play tennis here. I'm a student athlete as well. And as I say, I'm from Brazil. And if there's any Brazilian watching this, oi, tudo bem? E beijo para os brasileiros.
Martin.
Hi, my name is Martin Ramirez. I'm from Mexico, and I'm also a student athlete. I play tennis, and I'm majoring in business administration with emphasis on software development. And whoever's from Mexico, so hola. Thank you.
Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rinessa. I'm from Paraguay, South America, and I'm double majoring in biblical studies and intercultural, multicultural studies. Si hay paraguayos mirando este video, les deseo bienvenidas y que disfruten.
Chiara.
Hi, my name is Kara. I'm from Germany. I'm majoring in psychology. This is my fourth year, so senior year in the United States. I'm also part of the athletic department. I play soccer for Fresno Pacific, and for everybody who's from Germany, hallo von anderen Ufer der Welt.
Alejandro.
Hello, my name is Alex. I'm from Madrid, Spain. I'm a senior, which is the fourth year, so my last one here. My major is business with emphasis in marketing, and I'm from the soccer team. So, hola a todos, amigos españoles.
I love it. This is exciting to have a group of you from all over the world. Thank you for sharing again your time with us today. I'm gonna peg Kiara and Alex to answer a couple of questions of, I know you've had a couple of college experiences. Coming to Fresno Pacific was not your first step. You've had another step besides joining our university. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to step into a couple of different colleges and why a student might do that.
Well, I can go first. So I first came over here, committed to four-year school. Didn't really like it, didn't enjoy it as much, and considered going back home, but I didn't want that to be my international experience, and also another older international student at that time. She transferred from a junior college. I get later to what that is. And she said like, this is not the international experience I should have. She didn't like it either, so she encouraged me to stay and try it at another school. So I decided to transfer to a junior college. A junior college is basically something for your first 2 years, what you can attend, which is like a degree you can get before your bachelor's degree. So I took that step back, went to that school because that gave me enough time to look into more schools and understand better where I would like to go. And then finally last year I transferred to Fresno Pacific. One thing I really learned is that like all the schools kind of like work in the same way, like the administration stuff and like all the organization is kind of similar. Obviously there are different cultures, but like I'm glad that I tried it out and I didn't like give up on it. So like no matter if you're going to commit to a school or not, like never forget that like you can still transfer and like go somewhere else in the end.
Yeah, so in my case, I went from Madrid, Spain to upstate New York, and I was in a junior college there. There are different options: 4-year college, then 2-year college. A community college or junior college is a 2 years university, so you can get an associate's degree, which is 2 years. But after that, if you want to keep going with your studies, you can always transfer to a 4-year university. That's what I did. I went to US with the intention of having a bachelor's degree, which is 4 years. So when I was done with my junior college, I wanted to look for a different university. There are different ways you can contact with different universities. You can just apply or try to contact to different coaches if you are an athlete. That's what I did. I wanted to transfer to another university and get academic and soccer scholarship. So in this case, I contact with an agency, and by that agency, I was able to contact with my coach here, and I was talking to him, and I finally decided to transfer here. There are differences between the junior college and the 4-year universities, but as Kiara said, everything is kind of similar. It depends on the junior college. For example, in my case, in my junior college, it's true that the campus, well, actually there was no campus, so there are some junior colleges that you have to live in a different house outside of the campus, or probably there are no cafeteria. And then in a 4-year college, I think that we have these facilities. So definitely to transfer it was a good idea, and to transfer to a 4-year college to pursue a bachelor's degree, I'm so happy of doing that.
Thank you both so much for sharing your path. You've basically done the role of an admission counselor, explaining the differences of the university's 2 years, public and private opportunities. Thank you. That was helpful to hear, and nice to know that it's okay to make a transfer from one school to another, that your time doesn't have to be over. You don't have to pick one choice when you find another university or college that fits your need. Thanks for being willing to share that. In the group here, I think one thing you've all done is walked through the transition of leaving home and coming to college. Martine, you're the person on the panel today that has just recently made that transition. Can you share a couple of tips or your thought process, what it is right now you're walking through as you adapt to the environment of school, having just come from being at home?
Yeah. So I always dreamt of coming to the US and play tennis and study at the same time. It was always something that I wanted to do. And at first, I was thinking that it was going to be not that hard to leave my family over there in Mexico and all that. But when time comes, you always miss your family. But you just gotta think that I'm doing this because it's something that I've always wanted, something that I'm dreaming of, and it will get me to some places that I couldn't do in some other place. So it definitely was not easy, but it has been a super nice a super nice experience, because also living on campus has been a really nice experience. One tip I can give you is that bring more stuff than you need, because you never know. Every time, sometimes I'm like, oh, I should have bring this, I should have brought that, but you just gotta keep learning through those mistakes. But that's a tip I can give you. And also getting to know my teammates on the tennis team, and also the people that live around me and on campus. Are everyone's such a nice person. So if you're shy, don't be like not talking to anyone. Just try to get along at least with someone, because they can help you in every single way. Sometimes you need help with the homework, or simply you're just not feeling it today, and there's always someone that can help you to get better every single day. So those are two tips I can give you.
That's really good. I appreciate definitely the aspect of even if you're shy, recognize that this is an opportunity to step out, be adventurous, and it's okay. It's okay to be bold and to ask questions. I think that's important. And one of the questions I also have is maybe to the point of advising. And I don't think we talked about this earlier, but I'm wondering if, Renessa, if Alice, you might, either of you or both of you might speak to what type of advising is available for you as an international student at school, and where do you find that at your campus?
Okay, Renessa, do you want to answer, or I can go ahead?
Okay, so I can speak a little bit about the work advising. If you come to university and you might be interested in working on campus, you can always go to the international office. They help you with getting all the social security and all the papers that you need, so you're ready to work. And or if you have any other questions regards where to go get for certain vaccines or stuff like that, the international office has all that information. And yeah, people love to help and are always open to help. And information is available in international office. There's a wide range of information available that you can get there. And like Martin said, don't be shy, don't be scared, just come. People are happy to help. And yeah, I guess Alice is more experienced in the athletic area.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. So like you say, international office is a great resource for everything. But for academic resources, like every year to do my schedules, I have an academic advisor. Every student has one. So you go talk to the advisor, see which class you're supposed to take, which are your classes, and the advisor walk with you in this process. So it's really easy, makes your life easier. And besides that, that's a lot of people that can advise you in many ways in the school, like many peers, professors, friends. In athletics, every time I have any questions regarding to tennis or something, because I play tennis, I always ask my coach, my tennis coach, and then he always answers my questions. So you always have someone to support you in any area you need. So yeah, like Martin said, don't be shy, and then ask people for help if you need anything.
That's great to hear from you both, definitely. Something I always like to say is, yeah, go to the sources. The administration, the faculty, they're at our institutions because they do care, and our faculty are in the class teaching. They want to be involved in your lives, and using them as mentors, as advisors is key. And don't be intimidated by administration, because really our goal is to help. And I think that gives us more joy, is that we get to connect with you, the student, and help you along the way. Peers are great resources, especially as you get to know those in classes above you. So there is great support as you consider being at a college campus. And whether it's the Academic Advising Center or an international club, those are the great places, absolutely, to start. Something I just thought about as you guys are talking about, bringing materials, sending materials, making sure you have things so that your dorm room is well stocked, is an issue of transportation. Here in the United States, and particularly in California, we're pretty focused on having transportation to get around. We do like our cars here, but that's not always common. What has been challenges, or how have you resolved a challenge of getting around into town? Just curious how you guys are solving that issue, or is it an issue for you?
Well, I can go ahead. So, well, I bought a car. That was my solution to the problem. But basically, if you don't necessarily want to buy a car, I think it's a great investment, also considering like if your time is over here, you can always sell it, so you don't make that much, like you don't lose that much money at the end. But basically make friends with people who have cars, because public transportation isn't the best in the United States, I would say. Especially like if you're from Europe, it's not comparable to Europe at all. With the public transportation, I know that like friends of mine who live on campus, they use the buses here to get around the city, but like mostly you rely on other people to drive you around. So find a friend who has a car. That's always really important.
Yeah, I agree with Kiara. So some difference that I feel from Europe and here is that in Europe, I guess there are more options in terms of transportation. For example, in Madrid, you have the underground. There are more public buses, I guess, that they can take you everywhere. Here, I feel that there are many people with cars, but it's not necessary either. In my case, I've been here for 4 years, more than 4 years, and I don't have a car. But it's true what Kiara said, it's good to have friends, with cars here. You can always take Uber because there are Uber here too. So you can go anywhere by Uber. Or it's true that walking distance is hard to go to different places, but you have plenty of options. So it's not a problem. You don't need a car, even though it's helpful.
That's good to hear. Yes, thank you. I've had experience abroad and appreciate the public transportation that you have in other countries. Definitely Madrid, and yeah, it's a challenge here, but nice to know you're not sequestered on campus, that you have opportunities to get out and explore. I think that's great. Tell me a little bit about, since we're talking about transportation, now life on campus, what is it like, or what should expectations be about eating in the cafeteria at a college or university? Who's bold to take that question?
I can take that. Don't expect the food to be the same as your home country. That's the first thing to say, because if you go and say like, yeah, I'm gonna eat the same food as I used to eat at home, maybe that's not true, because you're in another culture. So be open-minded that the food is different in another culture, and give it a try. Try other foods. And yeah, I think that's my tip to say that, because I came with the mind that like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna eat the same things that I eat at home, but no, I didn't. But I like the food here, but it's different from home. So just to be open-minded with that.
Yeah, I agree with Alice. So first of all, the culture is different. So the food that you have in your country is not going to be the same as here. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, the food that you can cook or your mom cooks at home is not the same as the cafeteria. It's true that in the cafeteria you have many options, but probably it's not the same. But you can also buy your food, eat your snacks, cook at your house if you have here a kitchen. But definitely you have many options in the cafeterias. It's not as bad as you may think, but of course it's not the same as home. And another issue that I had is that, for example, in Spain, we have different times to have lunch and dinner. So for example, in Spain, we have lunch between 2 and 3 p.m. and have dinner between 9, 10 p.m. So here it's different, and that was a challenge for me. So you have to get used to that. I don't know if it's the same in other countries in Europe. I don't think so. I think it's only in Spain and a couple of countries in Europe, but that was a challenge for me.
That's insightful. Thank you definitely for sharing. Yes, the idea of adjustment to the cuisine, or sometimes the lack of cuisine that can be experienced in a college cafeteria can be challenging. But there are definitely ways around that too. Hitting the grocery store nearby, keeping snacks in your rooms, going out with friends to restaurants locally. I think that gives you opportunity to explore a variety of particularly North American culture. Something also that popped up as a question is, what is it like to live in the dorms? So whether you're in a campus apartment, most colleges and universities in the United States do have dormitory living, usually different styles. What is dorm living like for you?
Yeah, I can answer a little bit. So be used to have roommates and get used to share your room with somebody else. So and always be open to talk to your roommates if there's something that you might find weird from them, because people are here from different cultures, and we are all used to live in a different kind of style, but still your roommates they're mostly sweet people that you can talk with and that you might probably end up being friends with later on. So get used to share your room with other people. Get used to setting rules like what you like and what they like, and be also able to compromise a little bit. And yeah, just be open-minded and friendly, and you'll get along.
Yeah, also what I can say, like she said, get along with your roommates, but also get along with the people that are around you in the other dorms, because they're part of the same building. So if you want to keep like a clean, neat building, get along with them, because you never know. Everyone has different opinions and all that. So obviously try to get along with them and be open-minded also.
I like that, Martine. You had me laughing there for a minute. Yes, sometimes I like to prepare people. If you know someone that you're going to school with, whether you're traveling together to come to school, or you're meeting up with a friend that you had who started at your school before you, it's not always a good thing to share a room with your friend. Sometimes spread apart, be in different dorms. It's nice to have friends in other dorms or other sections of a dorm, because then you have a space to go when you're having a challenging moment with a roommate, a place to take a breather and get a new perspective. But the idea of being open and getting to know different people and listening and learning from each other, as well as learning how to express yourself and your likes and dislikes cordially is important as well. That's very true. Maybe I can ask each of you to share a couple of tips that you would give to a prospective student coming in, who's leaving home maybe for the first time to come to college, or stepping into the United States for the first time. What would be a couple of tips you would offer someone?
Yeah, like I said, come open-minded, because you just have to be like, don't be shy, just try to get out your comfort space and try to get along with everybody. Also, organization is a big part of it, especially if you are a student athlete, because you got practice times, you have school, and sometimes you might want to work a few hours. So organization is a big part of college. And the last one, again, bring more stuff than you need every time, because you never know. You never know.
Yeah, like Martin said, be open-minded and also be aware that you're gonna go through a roller coaster of emotions in the beginning. You're gonna enjoy it really the first few weeks, and then you might get a little bit homesick, and the food might not taste the same as home, and you might, yeah, just miss your family. But I will give a tip, like take something from your country that you can only find in your country. Like in Paraguay, it's like the tereré, the mate that we have there, and take a little package with you, and that every time you feel homesick or you want something that tastes familiar, just drink that or eat that, whatever you have with you, and it will get better eventually. Don't worry, you will have a great time. But yeah, just know that it's okay to go through a frustration stage or phase. We have all been there. There's a lot of international students at universities here, and so everybody, like, they're really able to empathize with your feelings, and don't be shy to speak with other people about what you're going through.
And so yeah, some things that I have. I agree with Martin. Take things, but also take the necessary things. Don't take too much, because that's a mistake that I had. I took many things. It's like, oh my God, I'm leaving my country. I wanted to put my room in my suitcase, basically. So I took my PS4, like the PlayStation, to play video games. I took everything, literally everything, many different clothes for winter, for summer. Don't take many things, because there are laundries here. You can wash your clothes. You're gonna be busy. You're gonna be busy with, if you're an athlete, you're gonna practice a lot. You have classes, you have to study. You're gonna make friends. So you don't need to take the PS4 to play video games. You're gonna have social life, and then it's gonna be more expensive for you. So for example, I needed to take 2 suitcases, and if you take more than one, you have to pay more, and then you regret, and you need to take that clothes back to Spain or to your country, and then you have to pay more. So take the necessary things. Then another tip that I think is essential is the mentality. So we mentioned it more than once here. Be open-minded and be strong, because at the beginning it's going to be difficult. We all miss our family, even though you're a freshman, even though you are senior. You're going to feel homesick sometimes, but trust me, it's going to be a good experience. You're going to meet many people here, but be ready, because at the beginning it's going to be challenging. Everything is going to be so quick. You're going to have many practices. You have to get used to it. You're going to have the classes, and then at the beginning you're going to have to buy the things for your bed, for your room. You're gonna need to buy food. So you're gonna be busy. So know that it's gonna be intense, but it's gonna be worth it, because this experience is really good.
I think I have just one more thing I can add on to, because everything else has pretty much been said. Don't bring any electronic devices besides your phone and your laptop, because they're not going to work over here. So like something like a straightening iron or like a blow dryer. There is a different kind of volt they use in the United States, at least to like some countries, I guess. My home country, for example. So like those things are not going to work here. So don't even try and bring them, because and they're going to be useless here.
That's true. I agree with all of you guys about bringing a lot of things. I remember my freshman year, I took 2 suitcases, and one of them, I remember my mom saying, yeah, you need to take the bed sheets and everything. I took a pillow too. I don't know why, but she told me to take all those things, but don't worry about those things, because you're gonna buy them here, because the size is different. So the size is different than home. Like, for example, here's twin XL, and then at home we don't have the size. So so maybe you don't have the same size at home. So worry with those things here, which is easier. And like everybody said, homesick is gonna be hard sometimes. Some moments, like Renessa say, sometimes you're gonna feel very homesick. One day you're gonna be really happy. It's like that happens. You just have to learn how to deal with that. But be open-minded to make a lot of friends, because those people are gonna be people for your life. people that you meet here in college, in school, maybe gonna be your friends for life. So don't be shy and talk to people.
That's good. Those are really great tips. Thank you, guys. And two, if you do have a number of things you need to bring, instead of bringing 2 suitcases and getting that extra charge, or 3 suitcases, whatever it is you think you're going to bring, you can also ship some things ahead. So that's something to think about, is shipping some boxes ahead. You can ship it to your name at the school address, and most schools have a way to either hold it for you, or international offices will often hold early arrival packages. That's something I learned that we do, is the international office will help with that, which can alleviate some of the travel expense, because I know that's also something that students are considering, is the extra expenses that will be adding up as you travel to the North America schools. A thought also came to mind as we're thinking about travel and packing and living in the dorms, is what happens on the holidays for you? There are American holidays where I don't know, some schools might shut down, or most of the students will leave to go to their US homes, whether you have students that just live locally, or students that easily fly or drive to their home here in the US. As international students, what do you guys find yourself doing, or how are you caring for each other during those times?
I know sometimes campuses offer, during holidays, they offer that you can stay there, for example, like Christmas and stuff like that, if you have nowhere to go. But there's a lot of times also, if you make friends with United States students, they will invite you over to their homes. They will invite you to share with them. And furthermore, so it's like, there's always options. Either some people also go back home for Christmas, which is also an option. You can go back home, but yeah, you can stay on campus, stay with friends, or even like I had professors inviting me over to their homes for holidays. So professors are very open-minded, very friendly people. If you ask them, or if you ask them for like even advice or tips, they will help you, or they will even invite you to their homes.
That's really great to hear, and it's true. Thanks for sharing that, Vanessa. Definitely. Something too, I was thinking about as we were talking about travel, is what have you done for an adventure? Have you left the campus? Have you gone out and seen a different area? Since we're in California, what sort of fun things have you done, either as an adventure or fun, crazy things you've done with a group of friends?
So my first summer after freshman year, I think that was the main reason why I wanted to get a car. I decided to stay in the United States rather than going back home, and I did like a little road trip. What is like pretty nice to do here, since like there's a lot of natural sceneries you can see, like national parks. The system of national parks here is great and awesome, kind of to see all of that stuff. So I started my road trip in Michigan. I mean, I did a really long one. So from Michigan, I drove to the West Coast to Seattle, and then down to California, LA, and then back to Kansas. And I think here, well, the area we live in, it's great because you can just do a lot of around Fresno area. So you can go to San Francisco, Los Angeles. You can go to Yosemite National Park. And then there are 2 more national parks, like I think just an hour away from us, Kings Canyon National Park and Sequoia National Park. So like you always like find your way around and like do some stuff, and don't just go to college here.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
many. Well, you want to go ahead, Martin?
You go.
Okay. There are many things that you can do here. So, for example, there are many different holidays such as Thanksgiving or spring break. You can do different plans with your friends. So, for example, I went to San Diego for 3-4 days. It was such a nice time. Then if you're an athlete, you're gonna travel with your team too. You can go to LA, you can go to San Francisco, San Diego, or different areas around. And also, once the season is over, for example, I remember in my junior college, to celebrate that the season was over, we decided to go to Canada because it was close to upstate New York. So you're gonna live many different adventures with your friends, or even your family can come here and visit the area, or you can do many different things on weekends, on holidays, or with your team. There are plenty of options. You're gonna live many different adventures.
Yeah, I recently did a trip with my tennis teammates to San Francisco, and it was a nice trip. Like, we saw everything from San Francisco in bike. It was kind of hard, but it was nice. And like, I barely met my teammates, so I barely met them, and we already did a trip. So that's something really fun and something that I wasn't expecting at all. Like, it was super early to do it, but it was super nice also. And also, like Alex said, being a student athlete, you travel with your team to compete to different places, and sometimes you can go sightseeing if you finish early or something. So definitely things to consider.
You guys have had some amazing adventures. Kiara, you've done more, I think, in the United States, the car trip than I've done, and I grew up here. So thanks for sharing that. I've got one more question I'd like to ask too about studying. We talked a little bit about classes and advising, but what was it like to adapt to studying in college for you here? Was it challenging, difficult? How have you become a successful student? Because you're all proving to be successful students.
Personally, when I came to the US, my first year, my English was not that good. So I remember I was having a history class, an ancient history class, and then all the words like old English, and I was like, what? I don't understand anything. So I struggled a lot because of the language of the first semester, but you just have to be patient because you're hearing English every time, like 24/7, every single day you're hearing, and then suddenly you start speaking, and then you start understanding better. And that's for me was what I struggled the most. In time management, just learn how to do the time management because it's gonna help you so much. Not to procrastinate with classes, with homework, late assignments. And I think that's the third part. My biggest advice is to have a planner, write down everything you have to do, and this way you can adapt better to the changes.
Oh, it's curious because I was going to mention exactly the same 2 points, like time management and language. I don't think school here is super hard because back home in Spain or in your countries, I think the level is high too. So don't think it's going to be extremely hard. I think the key is time management. Make sure that you can go to practice the same time as you go to classes, the same time as you can go back to your dorm and study, do your homework, and make sure you do everything on time. And the other thing that Alice mentioned is language. So that's a challenge too. It's not the same going to English classes back in your countries than actually being here in the United States that they talk English constantly. I thought my level was decent, but then when I was here, it was like, wow, it's not that decent maybe. But trust me, as Alice said, in couple of weeks or a month, you're gonna be good. Your English level is gonna improve a lot. And then again, be open-minded because, for example, I remember a friend whose English level was not so good, but he was talking Spanglish. So we laugh a lot because he said many things that they were funny because they were not actual words in English, but that's what he learned. And at the end of the day, he was the one who learned the most.
Yeah, like both of them said, be mindful and responsible. There's no mom that's gonna tell you do your homework, so you have to be your own mom. Uh, but also, mostly in universities, you're gonna find academic success centers that if you're struggling with a class or even with the language, there is places where you can go and get some support. And actually, a lot of people go there, and it's really helpful. And especially I had problems with writing because I was like translating in my head from my language, and then it came out sometimes a little bit weird. So I went to Academic Success Center, and I had a writing tutor, and she helped me, and it helped me a lot. So yeah, don't be shy to look for help.
I think it was the same issue for me. So like the first couple months, it was like English was horrible because like it's just like you sit in class and everything you translated back and forth in your head. You're like, okay, the professor said that. So like, what is that in German? And then like just like bend and forth instead of like staying in one language. But after a while, you start thinking in English, and then it becomes a lot easier because you don't translate back and forth anymore. Rather, you just stay in one language, and it just becomes like your second language in a way where you're like super fluent. Like, so I sometimes even privately think in English, like I don't really switch German anymore. And now it's more an issue like when I go back home, the first couple of days I'm struggling talking in German because I'm missing words because I'm speaking English every single day. So like sometimes I'm like, wait, what was that word again in German? Because I just can't think of it anymore.
Yeah.
Was it-
Oh,
Go ahead, Mark.
also, when Alex was talking about time management, it is really important because sometimes you also need time to rest, and it is very important so you can be 100% whenever you are in class or in practice, because and just do your homework on time, all your assignments, so you have that time to rest. It doesn't matter like if it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes or something, but resting is very important.
Martine, that's great. Thank you for reminding us. Yes, finding that balance is key. Time to rest as well as being your own mom and being disciplined and developing time management. Well done. Thanks, guys. I think we have a couple of questions that have come in.
Yeah, academically, and I know this is going to be a really broad question, but academically, do you feel college is harder or easier than what you were used to? Obviously, you represent 5 different countries, you have 5 different majors, and you take a lot of different courses, so it's kind of hard to sum it up. But in general, would you say that academically it's harder or easier than high school?
So from Germany, I know I talked to other countries too, and like they said it's harder. For me, it was easier coming over here, but I don't know if that necessarily was because it's easier here or because it's something because I'm studying something now I like. So like obviously I'm showing more interest in what I'm studying. So like I put more effort in that I put in high school, I would say. And then also obviously we become more mature. So like that's another factor why you may become better. Me personally, I got a lot better over here. My grades got a lot better. And now when I compare it to my friends back home who go to college back home, it's just like a different kind of system you have in Germany. But like in the end, I think I kind of gain the same knowledge as they do. So I don't feel like behind, especially like with people who major in the same subject as I don't feel like I learned less than them.
It's amazing how much more motivated you are with maturity and with passion fueling that, for sure.
So from my point of view, I don't think it's more difficult or easier. I think it's just different. I remember in Spain, I would have to study a lot, spend hours and hours reading books and memorizing everything, and then going to class and write it down in an exam. But here is different. You have more assignments, you have more papers. There are some exams that there are multiple choice. You have to do readings, then talking about it. So I think here is not so much about studying and memorizing. I think it's more practical. You have different type of assignments. And from my point of view, that makes it easier, but that doesn't mean that it's definitely easy. You have to to put work on it. You have to, what we talk about, have a good time management, and with that, it will be fine.
Another question. Obviously, you all had the choice to stay in your home country to go to college. You all chose not to do that. I was just curious, kind of what was the motivation or the driver? Was it a specific program? Was it just the opportunity in general? Was it, what made you really ultimately decide to, and let's face it, I mean, it takes a lot of courage, right? To pack up your stuff and to go so far from home for, a big chunk of your life for those 4 years. So what was the deciding factor?
For me, sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For me, it was I wanted to expand my horizons. I knew there was this big wide world open for me, and I knew that I could learn a lot from other cultures. And I was also really interested in another country and other cultures and learning to speak another language. So that was my main factor. That's why I came out to the United States.
For me, as I mentioned, I'm an athlete. I play tennis. I have been playing tennis since I was 7. And I got to a point that I have to choose if I want to keep playing or if I want to study. Because in Brazil, I could only do one. I can only either study or play. And I didn't want to make this choice. So I started talking to the agency that bring me here. And they told me about the possibilities to come to the US and do both, being a student athlete. And I say, okay, this is what I'm doing. So I think for me was the possibility of combined study in athletics.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Alice. The same happened to me in Spain. There's a point that basically you have to choose. Of course, you can do both, but it's not the same because the sports and the academic, they are not related in my country. For example, you can play for a club, but that club is not related with your university. But here is so easy to combine both because you play and study for the same university. It's professional too, so don't think that to play with a university means that it's easy like playing with your friends. No, trust me, the competition is really hard, and you can do both. And then another reason why I came here is to improve my English level, and then getting a degree here for an international student is so valuable. So then if you want to come back, your degree is gonna be really, really important, and it's gonna stand out.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with Alex and Ali. In Mexico, being a student athlete is kind of different. You can, but it's not the same thing as being here in college because, as Alex said, the level here is college is something really, really good, and also you get to experience the fact that you're not only the only international student in another country, so you get along with your teammates and all of that. So I was thinking of that when I came here, and that's what made me come here.
So you obviously were able to come to the States. Why did you choose specifically a small Christian college? Because obviously we have, thousands of options across North America. So the things you mentioned would have allowed you to do those things. Can you answer maybe specifically what it was that kind of helped narrow down the thousands of options to where you ultimately ended up?
So for me, I think it's always like kind of like lucky if what you choose. Like it obviously could have gone completely different. For me, a few factors played in. So like the coach who recruited me, like that's basically the person who you talk most to. Like it's not the international office, it's not administration, it's not students there. It's like your coach, and then like since as an athlete that like you will spend the most time with your team around your teammates pretty much 24/7 because you practice with them, you travel with them. it's really important that you like function with them, that you know you would fit in a team, and just like the values if you presented to me, or like the coach presented to me, sounded great to me. And then I visited the school here. I was already transferred, so I was already majoring in psychology. So for me, another important factor was that the psychology program here was really good. So that was more the choice, rather than being like, okay, it's a Christian university that's so much different than like a public university, because it's not like, it's more like the university offers you to practice your Christian belief, but you're not forced to. So like you still have the choice of like just like being like at a public school. So there's not really a big difference, besides that you have a church where you can go to if you want to, or like have people you can talk to about your Christian belief, but it's not like forced on you.
Yeah, I
Well,
think there are
there's,
many.
yes, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I think there are many different factors. So when I was in my junior college in New York and I wanted to transfer, I was thinking about, first of all, the location. If you like the location, how is the weather? Then also, how is the school academically? If you think is good, and then if you are an athlete, how is the level of the team you're gonna join? Then also, if you are talking to the coach, how is the coach? Do you like him? What did he say about the team? But mainly, an important thing for me was economically, because here in US, the universities are expensive. So for example, for me, I wanted to find one that could provide me athletic scholarship and academic scholarship. So that's an important factor that made me decide to come here.
Absolutely. Those are some really great answers. I have one last question, and that's because I am a mother of college-age students. I was curious, when's the last time you contacted your families, and how is the best way you communicate with them?
The last time I saw my family was in June.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like almost, I don't even know anymore, 6 months, I don't know,
Yeah.
without seeing my family. It's really hard to be away from them. Today it's my nephew's birthday. I'm not there, but it's hard, but at the same time, we're so happy that now we have FaceTime. We have all those resources that we can talk to them like live, they can hear you, you can hear them. This is really like helps a lot. So FaceTime, best friend ever. And I try to contact my family at least once, twice a week.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of the same. I think since I'm over here, I'm effectively more talking to my mom. Like back home, it was more like, okay, mom, all right, like than that. But like now it's more like, okay, I'm actually talking to her. I think our relationship got way better, like in general with my parents, just because like you talk more in depth, you have some more like you're not living together anymore, so it's like you're not getting as much annoyed by each other anymore. You rather miss each other. And for example, with my grandparents, I set up once, like on Sundays, once a week, a call where I talk to them for an hour. And then like my parents, I just call via FaceTime or like WhatsApp once or twice a week whenever it just happens. So like I think I'm in really good contact with them. And like I also saw them last time in June, but like if you're really using your breaks, it's technically always just 4 months you're spending away from them. So like it's not too long.
And the last time that I talked to my parents, it was basically yesterday. Like FaceTime, as Alice said, is our best friend right here in this kind of relationship. But I think, again, it's time management. So I think the sentence that I don't have time, it doesn't exist. If you really want to do something, you're gonna manage somehow to get that time. So if you have breaks between class or before practice, or even having lunch or dinner, I see people with the headphones just talking to their parents. So in my case, every single day I talk to someone. So on Monday, for example, I talk to my mom. On Tuesday, I call my dad. Then on Wednesday, I had time, I call a friend from Spain. And then I call my uncle. You always have time to talk at least 10 minutes. So trust me, even though you're far, you're gonna feel close to them.
That's a really great answer. to your point, if it's important and it matters, you'll make the time. And again, the technology piece today, I mean, we live in a beautiful time where we can see your face, hear your voice, at literally a touch of a button. And yeah, it wasn't like that, a generation ago. It wasn't like that, 10 years ago. So you guys, and I'm sure your parents love the idea that they can reach out to you so easily, even despite, time changes and time differences and stuff too. I know that probably creates a little bit of a challenge for some of you as well, but if it's important, you'll make the time, and I'm glad to hear that you're making that effort, and I'm glad that you're reaching out, and that you're growing and you're maturing, and you're understanding the importance that has in your life. So I appreciate that. I have no other questions. Thank you so much for all your time and attention and sharing your experience. And again, this will be posted as a webinar, and then it will be posted on our website. So I think it will get lots of views in the coming months as high school students that were you guys just a few years ago are starting their search and their journey of figuring out where they want to go and what they want to do, and all the life changes and life choices that they have here in the next couple years, depending on where they're at in their journey. So again, thank you for sharing your experiences and for giving us an hour of your time tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
I wish you all the very best with your sport seasons, and of course, academically as you work towards your graduation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.